What if I told you Wall Street's most valuable secrets, the algorithms that make millions in profits a day, could be stolen by one person, and those secrets could live on even after conviction, forever influencing markets? This is the story of Sergey Aleynikov, the programmer, the trader, the man who took Wall Street's code and changed computer trading forever. Let's dive in. Sergey Aleynikov was a gifted coder with a PhD in physics and computer science, specializing in high-frequency trading systems, the super-fast algorithms that execute trades in microseconds. In 2009, he worked for Goldman Sachs, one of the most powerful investment banks in the world, building elite software that helped the firm profit in the ultra-competitive world of electronic trading. These algorithms weren't just tools, they were economic weapons. Millions, sometimes hundreds of millions of dollars could depend on them, and they were proprietary. They were secret. In June 2009, Aleynikov downloaded code from Goldman servers just before leaving the firm for a new job at a rival trading firm. He didn't delete it. He copied it. He didn't post it online. He took it with him, and that sent shockwaves through Wall Street. Goldman Sachs claimed the stolen code was the backbone of their high-frequency trading strategy, including order execution logic, queue management, and risk controls. To Goldman, this was more than theft. It was a corporate breach that could cost them billions. Aleynikov was arrested. The case quickly became a legal and ethical flashpoint. In 2010, Sergey stood trial in federal court in New York. The jury convicted him not of traditional stealing physical property, but under the Economic Espionage Act, a law meant to stop foreign nations from stealing American corporate secrets. But this wasn't industrial spying across borders. It was code traffic between two desks in Manhattan. Aleynikov was sentenced to 8 years in prison. For a long time, it looked like Wall Street had sent a message: if you touch our code, we'll make an example out of you. But the story didn't end there. In 2012, an appeals court overturned the conviction, ruling that the Economic Espionage Act did not apply to code that was developed and stored within the United States. The judge said taking data from a server in New York is not the same as spying for a foreign competitor. Aleynikov walked free. This result stunned legal scholars and Wall Street alike. But that wasn't the end. New York state prosecutors charged Sergey under state law instead of federal law, and in 2015, he was convicted again for stealing property from Goldman Sachs. This time, he was sentenced to a year and a day in prison. The message had changed. Insider intellectual property could be prosecuted even if the federal law didn't fit. But the debate was just heating up. Let's be clear, this wasn't petty theft. This was high-frequency trading source code. In electronic markets, milliseconds matter. Firms spend billions on technological advantages, co-location at data centers, custom hardware, proprietary algorithms. If you duplicate the logic that decides what price to hit, when to enter and exit, how to manage risk against tens of thousands of orders per second, you're not just copying software, you're copying economic performance. Goldman Sachs argued that the stolen code was worth hundreds of millions of dollars in unrealized profit. And in a world where many trading firms hire coders and quants with physics PhDs, that's saying something. The Aleynikov case exposed a giant legal gap. Is software property? Is data tangible? Can something that costs nothing to duplicate be stolen? Federal law said no in this case. State law eventually said yes, but the ramifications go far beyond one man. This case forced lawyers to rethink digital asset theft, hedge funds to tighten non-compete clauses, banks to revamp how they define trade secrets, legislators to consider new intellectual property frameworks. In a world where so much value sits in the cloud, not in factories, this was a foundational moment. Why did this case matter to markets? Because Wall Street's edge isn't just access to capital, it's access to information and speed. High-frequency trading once accounted for up to 70% of U.S. equity trading volume. If banks feared their code could walk out the door at any moment, they'd hire fewer technologists, they'd clamp down on data movement, they'd restrict mobility between firms. That reduces competition, that raises costs, and that changes the structure of markets. The Aleynikov case wasn't just about one coder. It was about who owns financial algorithms, who controls market infrastructure, and what happens when human capital meets machine capital. Today, Sergey Aleynikov is a free man. The tech he once built continues to evolve in ways he could never have imagined. But the effects of his case linger. Wall Street firms now treat code like a fortress. Lawyers treat digital assets like property. Regulators debate whether intellectual property needs new legal frameworks in the digital age. Some see Aleynikov as a villain. Some see him as a pioneer. Others see him as a warning about how little the law has caught up with technology. So what's the real takeaway? In markets built on speed, information isn't just power, it's currency. And when currency can be copied in seconds, the old rules don't apply. The Aleynikov story isn't just a legal drama, it's a story about how markets work, how technology changes power, and how lawyers struggle to keep up with innovation. If you want more videos like this on the untold stories of markets, tech, and finance, hit subscribe and drop a comment on who I should cover next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.